Welcome to Perth's #1 podcast. You're listening to the Jamo and Dylan Show.
Yeah, we're on the way to Dunsborough. Little mad trip with the boys. We're celebrating.
G'day guys and welcome back to the Jamo and Dylan Show. It's episode 108 today, and it's an honour and a privilege to have Daniel Bradshaw, founder of StreetX, on the podcast. Prince of Perth.
He does run. You do run Perth a bit, don't you? You're involved in the community.
I try to do my part somewhat.
You do your 100%. Bits.
It's been a long time coming. I remember I personally sent you a DM about 2.5 years ago, maybe 2 years ago when we first started the show.
Did you?
Yep.
Okay.
And you replied and you said, because I just asked if you wanted to be on the show, but we were really new at the time, probably didn't have a following. And you said, really busy up until Christmas, mate. Sorry, I'll have to pass. And I was like, that's sick that he replied. And then I think we might have sent one a couple months after from our account, our joint account.
Okay.
And you didn't see that one until about 2-3 weeks ago where you replied.
See, no, you got to work for these things. You got to put it out there and then it happens one day.
It's manifestation 101. But why did you end up replying to us after 2 years?
Everything. I mean, for me, everything takes time. As with
I
anyone.
feel that.
Everyone gets DMs. I've sent people DMs. The same thing as not got replies. I was actually listening to a good podcast about this sort of thing this week, and it's like everything needs a value add. Like you can't
100%
say yes to everything. You can't
Couldn't
do
agree
every
more.
single thing. Like the amount of kids who've asked me, how do I run a brand? It's like that's more than a DM conversation. Like, I want to start a brand. Can you give me some tips? It's like...
Yeah, we get that a million times. Like, how do you start a podcast? What mics do you use? And it's just like, it's hard to relay that in one message.
You can do that, and I feel bad not replying to people.
Yeah.
I don't really anymore because it's like I reply to so many people. But some of them I read, I'm like... Like, I'm not even going to ask it. If I'm going to ask, I'm going to tell you to fuck off. Because it's like, I'm not even... big or anything like that. So I'd imagine what these massive brands and owners and all these people sort of get. But for my time, I've got X amount of time to do X amount of things. And I value my time to sort of try and complete what I want to do in the business and then outside the business. And then outside of that, I can't do everything. So for me at first, I've been asked to go on so many podcasts. And sometimes I'm like, it's cool. And other times I'm like, man, I don't want to just repeat the same sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like I've been on a few podcasts, and that's why I haven't done one for ages, because it's the same thing. Like, tell us about the business. Tell us what you did. And I'm like, man, why would anyone listen to this? It's me saying the same thing over and over again.
And you get sick of just spewing out the same stuff.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't want to share that to people I know and people I respect because I've shared that before. So I don't want to share the same regurgitated stuff. So that's why I held off doing podcasts for ages. And then the reason I saw you guys more so is obviously on Instagram too. I mean, and then two, like we were talking about before, TikTok. We started a TikTok months ago and I didn't use it at all. And then we slowly started doing it. And then two of the boys who work at the shop and the warehouse and one of my friends started running it and started actually doing more. Because I was like, man, I can't.
It is valuable, TikTok. It really is.
Yeah, and I was like, I can't do everything. I don't want to do everything. I want to do what I like and what I'm good at, and then other people who work for the business and are a part of the business can run that. And then I started seeing more and more on TikTok, and I don't really like using it. I just more so like the cool, different sort of element that it gives to the business. Like you can do the hack stuff, like how to. Gives cool little novelty things, which is not
behind
a thing.
the scenes as well.
Not a thing on Instagram. There's a lot of stuff on TikTok I don't like and I don't view. But then, long story short, get back to the podcast question, is I saw what you guys did on TikTok. It adds a different element, a different value of what a podcast generally is. Like for me, you look at the stereotypical podcast is like, that someone tells their story, asks another question about another thing that leads to further storytelling. Whereas what you guys sort of did and broke it up on TikTok to add it into different little things, different elements, which is like, I was that's pretty cool. And then I saw the Instagram message. Let's do it.
Sick.
It was exciting. We were like, really?
Well, that's how I like working. I'm very much, let's do it.
Yeah, when things are right, it happens, it falls into place.
And I've had that for so often. I've done this for so long where I've had that I've had people who still never got back to me. That is what it is. And I've had lots of cool, famous people get back to me. And that's how it works. Everything just takes time. Like I know that with some designs or some products we're designing, it might not work right now, but in 2 years' time, it might work. I'm fucking 80. I'm not 80. I don't know if I am ADHD, but I think I am because as soon as I see something, I want it now.
Yeah.
But that's not how garments and apparel works, sadly. So everything takes time. So like I always have an idea, and I can't remember who it was. Another good thing I listened to was this guy who was saying he's got an imaginary idea shelf where he's had hundreds and thousands of ideas all the time, and he'll put things there.
Yeah.
And one day, if they come back, then you know that's a good idea. So for me, it's like I've always got all these things I want to do, but sometimes there's right place, right time for certain things. And other times you can go straight in. So if it's a new fabric or a new product design or a new activation or a new partnership with a brand or influencer or whatever you want to call it, sometimes it works. Like the Daniel Sturridge thing, say if that happens, right place, right time.
Yeah, that was an actually interesting conversation we were having before. So we were going into how you said the American sports, we were talking about how their clothing is just in general really good, but the Australian, what were you saying? It's way they do it.
Yeah, the way it's structured. So like the AFL owns all the rights of each team. They don't own the players' rights, but they own the team rights. So if you want to work with a team, you have to go through the AFL.
Including all the logos and shit like that.
Yeah, say the NBA, for example, isn't each franchise owns their rights.
Okay.
So then they can work independently with who they want and run things separately. So
which is why they get some cool merch.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why you see so many of the brands overseas working on partnerships with these big franchises and putting out small little capsules and doing cool content sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And you see you don't see that at all here. Like you see, if you think of AFL merch, you think of, I don't even know what the brand.
I guess the stuff
I mean, it's only Carlton that's got Nike, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's probably the only one that's Nike, but it's still not off-field like dry fit or cool. Like you're not getting fly knit Nike stuff.
No.
It's stock standard. And that's why we've always, like you were about to say, we've always played on that idea of how we can toe the line and get away with it without.
Yeah, because you've obviously had the Cam McCarthy,
stuff.
the Ben Cousins recently as well. How did that come about? Was that just a message sent, or how did you get through to him?
I've always loved the idea of working with people that no one else would.
Yeah.
And obviously Ben has got a very checkered past where some people love him, lots of people hate him. So for me, it was like he's obviously been through a lot of things. And I knew it would get a response. And then obviously my era is probably the era that viewed him most. Like I was in high school, we would all watch the grand final footy and all get pissed.
Yeah.
And it was like, that was when the Eagles were, I think it was 2004 to 2006 when there was that real like dominance period. That was peak my high school. So that was like, we all getting introduced to alcohol.
That would have been amazing.
They had like Judd and Cousins.
It was like Judd, Cousins, Kerr, like it was the glory days.
Are you an Eagles fan?
I've never been a massive footy guy, but it's always been a part of my life.
Right.
And I've always been so WA focused.
Yep.
Growing up then, it was always Eagles focused, and I was actually a Collingwood fan.
Okay.
Because my granddad was from Collingwood, so he was a big Collingwood fan. But when it comes to WA, I would always support either of them. It's just hard to go past. Like the Eagles are royal and yellow. It's just such a nice colour combination than the purple and the green.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, it's so much easier to wear Eagles stuff. And then obviously that glory days period, it's there's so many cool positive memories associated with that time. So for me, for the Ben thing, I was like, man, that would be like Cam when we did the Darty stuff. He's a different type of AFL player. He's stereotypical.
That became like an iconic thing, Darty McCrafty, didn't it?
Yeah, and that's why it worked, because it's a left of centre type of thing, and that's what we've always done. I'm not looking to do like a typical cut, run of the mill AFL player who's clean cut.
Not having a shot, but like a Jack Steele type, how he's just a straight.
Like a stock standard person is not really the type of thing, like a straight laced person is not really what we want to do, because that's not the brand we are.
So you just thought just reaching out? How did that process happen?
I just posted, it was literally one of the Q&A things I did on my story, and someone said Ben Cousins, and I was like, yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
It's simple, like nothing to it response. And then one of my friends who's got a cafe in Osborne Park called Sondrea messaged me, and I was like, oh, I know him, he comes in all the time. And I was like, oh, obviously set up a fucking coffee.
Yeah.
And as everyone always says, everyone always tries to add value and say they can do things. And Nick at Sondrea did everything. He was like, yep, set it up, no problems. And I was like, oh, wow.
And that actually happened.
Someone who actually came through.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Instantly set it up. And I've known him for a while because, one, he's a a customer of StreetX and I've been to his cafe multiple times. So that was an easy thing.
Yeah.
And he was like, yep, no problems. Here's the time and date. Let's set it up. He gave me Ben's number and we set it up. Had a coffee with him. At first, he was a bit standoffish. And then we chatted for ages. And then by the end of it, I was like, oh, let's do something. Like, this is what we do. We can do it. And at first, I think he sort of was just like, oh, yep, cool, man. Like,
he would be sort of standoffish towards anything like that, I guess, because his relationship with the media is not great at all, you know?
Everything that he's been through, he's been in front of a camera his whole life. So he's probably thought, oh, yeah, here's another endorsement, cool.
And in somewhat ways, they've been following him, like you know what I mean, as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So that just kind of kept going and...
Yeah, no, so I met him for that coffee and then I posted a photo and it went bananas and I was like, man, we have to do this. It'll be so fucking cool.
And how did he feel about that at the time? Was he still a bit standoffish?
He was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, oh, I'll believe it once we fucking release the shirts.
Yeah, true.
So then we did a couple of graphics, got it all signed off with him, and he was like, yep. Came into the warehouse, did some photos, and I was like, man, we're releasing it online this date. And then it got delayed. I can't remember why. He was busy for something, so we couldn't do the photos. Got delayed, ended up working out perfectly with everything with the Brownlow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then it released the same week. The whole idea was to do the shop in-store release, which we just did last week, with online, but he's hard to deal with sometimes, and we couldn't lock him in for then.
Yeah.
And then we made a specific time separately to do that, because I was like, man, look how well it went online.
Yeah.
Like, one, obviously it would be great to sell more, but two, more importantly, is to interact him with all, like we had
with the younger generation,
that many messages from people who wanted to meet him. And I was getting, one guy messaged me, he was like, hey man, I want to get him in my rap music video. Can you help me out? And I'm like,
it's not your responsibility at all.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I don't know. I don't know you.
Don't know him like
that. I'm not friends with you. I've never spoken to you before. Now you're messaging me to ask for. And I was like that. It goes back to our initial conversations, like evaluate. It's like you're just messaging someone who you're not friends with.
A lot of people think they're owed a lot for no reason.
Yeah, and I was like, thanks for messaging me, man. But you've never bothered to support anything I've done or support my brand in any way, or not even support, but like you've never said a nice word. We've never said hello to me.
Yeah.
And now you're asking straight away for me to give you something.
Yeah.
Like it's just a weird. I'm not saying you should never help. You shouldn't help people.
But I get where you're coming from.
It links back to that your use of your time. It's like I've got X amount of things to do. I can help these people who are massively supportive of my brand and who I give and then they give back to me.
Yep.
Or I could go out of my way and help someone I've never spoken to for no reason because he needs something.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm going to lean first and foremost to my core business and the customers who I care about over some random who just wants something, and because he sees he can use me as a stepping stone to get there.
Yeah.
So yeah, then that happened. We got the designs. Basically, we did the online, and I was like, Ben, we have to do the in-store. Like people have gone berserk online. Everybody media things posted it. I've got that many messages from people who want to meet you. Give me the date. This is the date I want to do. Got 2 or 3 weeks away, and he's like, yep, cool, I'll be there.
Okay.
And then it was awesome. In the morning, we had mums, guys bringing in their babies. Like, it was sick. Old men.
Yeah.
Our usual customers, which was great. Like, the first guy in line would have been late 30s, early 40s, Eagles shirt on.
Yeah.
Eagles everywhere. Like, it was so cool. It reminded me of when I was a kid going to Perth Glory.
And was Ben having a lot of fun with that?
Yeah. Mate, he stayed longer than he was meant to. Yeah. He was filming stuff with people. Like, people were asking him to film birthday messages.
Yeah. It's like a Perth christening, bringing your baby to the StreetX Ben Cousins thing.
Like, and that's what I was like, man, it was so cool because I went to those things when Glory, when the Perth Glory were in those glory days of the NSL.
Yeah.
I've got photos of me at Perth Zoo going to Perth Glory signing when I was in primary school in full glory kit. And it's the same concept.
Yeah.
So we're basically taking what we can and trying to do and give back in that sort of way. And it's just sick to see people interact
And with Ben as well, people do love a comeback story as well. Like you want to see...
Everyone loves the underdog.
People, do better for sure. Yeah.
100%.
Also, with you did that shirt with Israel Adesanya. That was massive. How did that come about? Is that another DM or?
No. So his manager, or 50% of his manager, or 50% of his management, is based in Perth.
Oh.
So he's just a guy I've known for years because he's got a brand also. And then we've just interacted for ages. And same thing, I was like, man, we'd fucking sell so many. Like, it would kill it. And then that's how that came about. So that was literally like, again, it was...
happened.
Yeah, who you know, relationships, network. It's all about like, if you get on with this person and if you're a good person, then we can make things happen easily. It's rather than sending an obscure DM that provides no value to anyone besides yourself.
100%.
Like he's probably one of the biggest sports stars in Australasia and the Southern Hemisphere now. So it's like, why would, for him, if he got 10 grand or whatever it is, it's nothing. Like,
no brainer.
Not going to make a dent in the bank.
He can make shirts himself and sell them.
Yeah.
Like there needs to be some sort of value addition for both parties rather than just one winning and the other not.
Yep.
Yeah, I respect
That's
that.
very true.
We love our MMA. I've gotten into it probably the last 3 years. I haven't done it myself because I'd get fucking annihilated. But in saying that, I love watching it. And like Dylan and I watched, most cards together. I know you like your MMA.
Love it.
You've been getting into it.
Yeah, we did get one of our mates, Druzy, asked, just go into that. Like, how did it start? How's it going?
He said, how did your fighting career go?
Pretty good. It was very, very low end fighting.
What made you start it? Just always been a fan type thing?
I I grew up playing soccer and my brother did kickboxing and Muay Thai. Yeah. And we just always watched UFC, like the old Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell days.
Yeah, my brother's a bit older than me, so I started watching back then. And so I think it was
when I first started watching, it would have been UFC 50s around that era.
Yeah. I started watching when Chuck Liddell was the champ and just knocking people out. So I was like 6 years old. I was like, this is crazy. My brother he would have been 19, so he was loving it. Like, but that was crazy.
And that was his name. I loved watching it. I've always been super competitive and sports orientated. And then when I sort of fell out of love with soccer when I was probably 19 or 18.
What was that due to?
I was always super competitive and I played at a super high level. I played a States soccer team from 13 to 15. And then at under 15s I did well. And then when it came to under 18s, when there was the jump, I hit puberty very late.
Yeah.
So I was super small.
Same, brother.
Yeah, and I was super small. And not using that as an excuse, but that's sort of why I don't think I progressed as fast.
Definitely is a major thing. I saw a study about, they did NHL. The way that the grading's done there, it's just like January to December, right? And they find that a high percentage of the NHL hockey players are born in the first 4 months of a year compared to kids born in December because, like if I'm born in January, you're born in December and we're at the under 15s, I've got 11 months on you. Like that's a massive difference. So that definitely plays
But
a role.
even for me, it was like I was always, regardless of my size, so competitive.
Yeah.
So I believed I was going to play for Manchester United. Yeah. So I was like, I'm obviously going to make this team. Didn't make that team, went to a different club. Played well at a different club and then sort of was just like, done this my whole sort of life. I'm not going to play for Manchester United anymore. I sort of realised that.
It hit ya.
Yeah, and I still watch and play football, soccer, but I always loved the idea of fighting. And I was never the biggest and I never got in street fights ever.
Yeah.
So that wasn't the reason I got into it. I never got bullied or anything like that. I just loved competitiveness and I loved the idea of fighting. I watched it, so I was like, man, I want to do that. So eventually started it and then just for ages wasn't very good. But I always had somewhat of an understanding of like boxing and kicking and kickboxing because I did that with my brother when I was a kid. Yeah. So that side I was always all right, but then the grappling is a whole different world. So I think when I was maybe after about 3 years, 2 years, I think it was maybe 21 when I first started fighting.
Okay.
And I only ever fought as an amateur. I never fought professionally. I had a bunch of fights.
Nerve-wracking before you get in?
That was my biggest thing is the mental side. The mental side, like I'm always super fit. I still am fit. And all the guys I still train with now are high-level professionals. But fitness-wise, I never had a problem, but mental side is where I struggled a lot.
Is that going in with doubts or is that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, performance anxiety, isn't it?
And then
I guess it's in fighting as well, like if you lose, you haven't just lost, you've either got choked out or knocked out or
Like even on that low-level stage, I was getting that nervous. It's like, imagine being a professional. And it comes down to the power of being able to control your mind. So even when I was fighting, it was amazing. It was sick. I loved it. But yeah, I obviously got to the crossroads where either I keep trying to go down that path and become a professional fighter or business. And I was about a year and a half into the business. We were just about to open the Northbridge store.
Yeah.
And I was meant to have one of my last fights, which was for a belt in this little thing I was fighting in, like a state belt. which in reality is fuck all. But at the time, I thought it was a bloody world.
Yeah, you're
I
like
thought,
fucking
big, man.
Dana White's gonna be knocking on the door.
Exactly. And it was for a 65 kilo belt, so it's fuck all, nothing. But to me, I was looking at it like it's a world title, and then I was opening the business. It was literally meant to happen, and then after I was going to win, and then I was going to open the business, and that was that. And I was cutting weight at the time. I was down to 68 kilos. I think it was the Wednesday. I remember it vividly. And
at the time, what was your normal weight?
72, 73.
Okay. What's the cutting process like? Grueling, or is it all right? It's the worst
thing ever.
Yeah.
That's what I hate the most, more than anything. So I was at 68 kilos. It was a Wednesday, and the fight was on the Sunday. And our coach said, the fight card, the whole card got cancelled.
Okay.
And he's like, don't worry, man. Don't worry, bro. We'll reschedule it in a few weeks and we get it back. And I was like, man, I'm opening a shop in 3 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever.
It's not going to work.
Yeah, I'm not cutting weight again and continuing to training when I've got a shop opening. Yeah. So I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And then just went to the shops and went to IGA in North Beach and bought fucking so much food. I remember I got like a blueberry bagel. I still remember what I went and ate, and just ate heaps of food. So I was like, cutting weight's the worst thing I've ever done.
Yeah, I bet you it tasted good too.
Yeah, and that was that. That was the end of the career. I mean, I still always thought I was going to fight again. I still always had that idea, and I still, even now, I'm like, I'll make a comeback, but it's such a big commitment.
Yeah, for sure.
So even like, it's 8 to 10 weeks of pure commitment.
Yeah.
And it's like, regardless of, like I say, I'm fit now, but being a fight fit is different. It's a different world. Like I look at the guys I train with and I'm like, you have to dedicate your life.
Yeah.
So it's like business. You have to dedicate everything you do to that business.
You can't give it 50%, you know?
Yeah, if you play a sport, you can't just, I'll not go to this session. I'm not going to go to this session. I've got a cold. It's like, it's not how it works.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like you have, and you can't say no to things. You just have to do, that's your routine you have to do. And you have to stick to that. It's not like, I'm sore today, I'm not going to go in. It's like a business.
Yeah.
You can't just like, when you're starting your business, you can't be like, I've got a cold, I just won't open the shop for a week. That's
not going to work.
Yeah, that's not how it works. But I still, every UFC I always watch.
Yeah. Yep. Do you have your favourite fighters? All time or current as well?
I love Charlie Liddell and Tito Ortiz was like the era I grew up in. So I loved Rampage.
Yeah, he was crazy.
When he came from Pride. I loved Rampage, loved Chuck. But you look at him now, it's like a different world. It's like these dudes are like levels from what it was
and
then.
they're genuine sporting superstars now. It's like the way the sport's grown is...
Yeah. Well, like, look at Russia. Russia's like taking over the sport now.
Yeah.
Like that card that just went
Khabib just beat everyone up and now he's training everyone to beat everyone up. It's actually ridiculous.
Well, it's just like, I mean, either way I look at you think of the type of person that comes from, say, Dagestan in Russia without obviously knowing or generalizing. Like, look at their standards of life compared with someone who lives in Perth.
Oh, it's tougher. Well, I watched a video where they kind of followed him back to his, and it's grim. It's tough.
I just saw still images of Dagestan and it just looked doomy and gloomy and there was just nothing going.
But like even you take in a perfect world experiment, you take someone from Dagestan, you take someone from Perth and put them side by side and see how they handle different things. Like say for Perth, we're pretty much, Australia. I think we've been given. Almost a lot of us have been born with a silver spoon in their mouth, just being from where we're geographically located, compared to somewhere like there where they don't get handouts, where they don't get just money given to them by government if they can't find the job. Like it's a different world. You have to fight for what you want, and it's like a dog eat dog world. Whereas here, it's
a different hunger they have.
I don't understand how can you ever get to that level of mental strength if you've lived 20 years of your life being given handouts. Like, oh, damn, I'm studying. I can go get a check from the government. Or, like, I don't have to work a second job. Like, it's cool. I can just stay at home. I can get, Oz study or $400 a fortnight or something. Like, I remember when I was a uni, I got that and just went straight to Bali when I got one of the stimulus.
Yeah, same, literally, Like,
that's what it's like. It's a different level of
They pay for my holiday. The last time I went to Bali was purely because of that.
And that's the cherry on the top. That's the lifestyle we've been given and what our families and parents gave us. Whereas other people, I think, I don't understand how you could ever get to a level of what these people have when they've lived certain lives. And then it goes to competing on a world stage. Like you look at Khabib for an easy example. He's not flashy. He doesn't care about all the money and stuff. Whereas you look at other people, it's like they get rich and they go balling. There's just so many different trajectories that people go on.
Yep.
You got to be some type of freak to get to that level of sport, business, anything. You have to be a freak and like you can't be normal.
And then to keep it up as well. Once you get to the top, that's a whole new challenge. That's crazy.
You see that with all of those elite athletes. Like just for example, Steve Smith. He's a freak. Like he has all. Had his wife in the room one night and like she set up a camera because she thought it was so silly. He was like shadow batting. So like. Batting to nothing, but he was visualizing the next day.
24/7, bro.
Yeah. And like, you just look at these athletes and they're built different. And like you said, that's, I guess, one thing I struggled with in my sporting career was the mental aspect. Like, I played cricket at like a decent level. I played footy at a decent level, but it was always that mental side. I'd doubt myself. Whereas you look at another bloke who might not be as good as you technically, but he was a mental freak. Yeah. Like he was just built different. And I guess that's a big aspect of sport that if you're not like that into sport and you're not as passionate, you don't understand that there's more of a mental side and a physical side. You just think it's just, if you're good, you're good. But you can be good and go onto the big stage and lose purely because of how your mind's built.
Your mind can take you to a million different places, can't it?
For sure.
I think it's the exact same thing applies to business. And that's why I always loved mixed martial arts so much because I'd go there and get beaten up.
Yeah.
And it puts everything in perspective. So it's not so much the idea of how good you are at fighting or how good you are. This is how long you can go without giving up.
Yeah.
And that applies directly to business or podcast or any type of extraterrestrial fucking thing you want to fucking do. It's like if you just keep going and keep pushing, then you'll get rewards eventually. Sometimes you won't. Sometimes it fails.
It just doesn't work.
But you've got to try it.
Were there any times with StreetX that you thought it's not going to work? Or did it just? Did you just think like
the first 6 years we made like no money?
Yeah.
At all. Not that money's the deciding.
How long has it been around for now?
It'll be 10 years in December. Which I mean, that's so long.
Yeah.
But for me, it feels like I still feel like I'm in the first year.
Yeah.
And that's why I know I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. So I feel like, man, every year I'm like, next year
not
it's
a drag.
so much better.
Yeah.
Like I look at I remember when we had a pop-up store in Freo in 2012, I think it was, off the top of my head.
A couple of years in.
Yeah, and there'll be like, I think there was 1 week where we made like one sale the whole week or something. Or like there's multiple days of no sales. And I'd still just go there every day and be there.
What made you keep going back? You just believed in it? You just thought this is going to work?
I was I thought it was going to work. I was adamant we were creating something different.
What were you doing at the time outside of the business?
No, I was at uni.
Yep.
I was living at home. Like just an absolute stingy little bugger. Like getting lifts off my girlfriend to uni. I don't even know if she was my girlfriend at the time, but I was like just getting,
some chick,
like getting the girl did end up becoming my girlfriend, but I was just hocking lifts with her because she had a car and I didn't. Public transport. Literally didn't spend $1 on it.
And you just thought, what made you want to start in? You just liked clothing and you thought there's a gap in the market?
I always loved clothing from when I was a kid. I remember in 2006, I think, or 2008, when I was at school, my mum took me to America and we met up with one of our family friends.
Where did you go to school?
St. Stephen's in Duncraig.
Did you enjoy school?
No, not really. I was never smart, but I'm not like I've never been the best at anything.
Yeah,
I'm the best at trying.
Yeah.
So like year 11, I failed.
That was inspiring. I felt that in my heart.
Year 11, I failed half my units. I did 6 units and failed 3, and the teacher was like, I think it was year 12. I wanted to do economics, which is business.
No, I did that.
Is it still economics?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the teacher was like, "You're not smart enough to do that," and I was just like, "Well, now I'm going to do it."
Yeah.
And my mum was like me. She's like, "Nope, I pay fees. He's doing that."
Yeah.
And I was just like, "Yep, sucked in, teacher. I'm doing that." Yeah. And another story like that, same thing. When I was at school, I had super long hair. I used to surf, and the teachers wanted me to cut my hair.
Yeah.
And then my mum was like, "Well, why does he have to cut his hair? His hair's the same length as the girls, and they can wear it out." So I ended up getting away with that.
Yeah, that's a quality.
Yeah, and not having to cut my hair, which was cool. But I always like that. If someone told me to do it, I was like, "No." I've just been like that.
Yeah.
And that was always sort of like in year 12, they were like, "No, you can't do this." I was like, "Yeah, I can." And then I just dedicated my life in year 12 to studying and just learn, which is not a great way to learn, but I did it and got a really good TER, which I didn't need because I just got into business, which is a low entry.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do a physio for some, I was always interested in physio too because of sport.
I feel like everyone has that thought. Like I did sports science at uni for a year. Our good mate Josh Rognetta is studying physio and he's really good. But yeah, we had a lot of other people who we knew who went into something like that just because they like sport.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I wanted to be a sport teacher, not realizing that I didn't actually enjoy teaching kids. Yeah. Like I like doing what we're doing now. I feel like I'm having more of an impact than I would teaching. I did a year of sports science, 1 day of sport teaching, walked out of the first lecture because I was doing YouTube at the time. I was doing like backyard cricket videos and stuff. Yeah. And we started the podcast just before that. And I remember I said to my lecturer, I was like, look, I'm not going to be able to have a social media presence or have the content that I do out there if I'm a teacher, right? And she was like, yeah, probably not. And that's when I pulled the pin and I was like, I'm going to do what I enjoy more rather than...
Yeah, which is the most important thing.
100%.
Exactly. And that's like, I guess why we've done well in the time that we've been doing this is because we're passionate about it and we put all our time into it. So
if you're enjoying it, it doesn't feel like work as much, you know?
No. And
like it's a challenge that you want.
If you want to do it, and you genuinely want to succeed.
You make it happen.
Yeah.
100%.
It doesn't, it's not like, oh, damn, I have to go home and do this. It's like, I want to go home.
Yeah.
And do that. I want to go home and learn to do more.
That's the thing I found too. A lot of people will make excuses, but then in my head I'm like, well, how bad do you really want
Just
it?
means they don't want it, you know? That's the thing. You're doing the wrong thing.
I've got this on that day or this on that day, but those things can easily be postponed, to make time. So
the biggest thing I think is with everyone is, everyone's got the best idea. Like 90, I can't count. I've got that many friends who've got the best idea.
They never start shit?
Yeah. You probably get 100 people who give you ideas, one person who'll do it.
Yeah.
It's like even for me, when I was young, I asked for jobs at all these shops that I thought were cool. And I was like, man, like, please give me a job. I'm like, I'm so glad they never did because now I've just done it myself.
Yeah.
And made something myself without having to rely on these other people who now I look at and I'm like, oh, it's cool what you guys do, but I'm focused on what I'm doing.
How many people are part of the company?
There's about 12 of us, 13. And probably about 6 of them are full-time.
And is that a mixture of friends, people you know, and just people who've applied, or?
Yeah, we've got, 2 of the guys I met through a partnership we did with another company. They're like professionals at what they do.
Okay.
So we just met through a brand partnership we had. And then they, a bit short time after, left that brand. And I was like, man, you guys, they'll be perfect for what we do. So they came on board with us. One was originally a friend. All the guys at the shop now have just been kids who've come in the shop over the years. 2 of them have been guys who've applied, who've been great. My partner, my mum, and then just a couple of family friends who've turned out being great employees. So yeah, it's a small team, but it's great. And then we've got a general manager starting in end of November, which would be a cool step up for the business to make it a bit more business-like and make things a bit more structured. And
how did that process come about and like picking the right person?
Time. It's the biggest thing is trying to work out the best way to make the business go forward and get to that next level, which is sort of that's the next plan. And for me I was too spread too thin between things. Yeah. And like trying to do everything. Like I'm a bit of a control freak and trying to do everything myself. I was just like, I'm running myself into the ground. And 2, it's not going to work. Like I'm really crap at a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I know what I can't do. So I know I need to delegate them. But then there's the things I can do. I'm like, I should do that. I shouldn't pay someone to do that. But then like you said, I've got X amount of time.
Yeah.
You've got a few things that you're good at, but they all take time. You need to pick the most important ones. So that's what it's now. So basically now my job becomes I've picked the 2 things that I'm good at. That's what I do. Everything else gets delegated to other people.
So what are those 2 things?
I was going to say, what are those?
I love the marketing and content side.
Okay.
But I can't do all of that. Like I can't be running TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, running ads, building ads, sorting events out, doing everything. Like everyone thinks it's pretty easy, but it's not. There's like a lot of aspects that go into that. So for a photo shoot, someone just doesn't walk out with a camera and take photos of clothing and go, wow, that's going to sell so many units and sell out. Yeah. That's not how it works. So you have to build up an identity of we've got the brand. So we've got the brand identity and what the brand is. So how can this new release or whatever we're trying to show, how can we tell that story through an Instagram photo, one photo that someone might see for 10 seconds? How can they see that and know, oh, that's what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the bench warmers one was the recent, like a soccer styled one we did, which was easier reference because I've grown up playing soccer. So I knew the exact characters we wanted to create. So we did, it was like a story where I was dressed up as a manager and the other people were players. So we made, that was like a real easy way to, someone scroll past that, you can sort of get the idea straight away of when you see it. And it's like, we don't want to just make a soccer thing that looks like a Perth Glory or just sits like in a rebel sport type thing. We don't want to create that because those are $1 million clubs. They've got players to reference. So someone sees that, they know, oh, that's that club, I can buy that. So we wanted to create something that sort of told the story of our brand, but then also jumped out at people. It's like, hey, we're not wearing this. You can wear it for soccer, but we're not making it to wear for soccer. It's made to wear casually.
Yeah.
So that was a whole, like a brief gets formulated and sort of you get reference images, sort of trying to explain, almost act as if you're talking to a dog. Like a dog's not going to understand what you can tell it, sit, stay, or do that. So if it's dealing with a factory, if it's dealing with a new client, a supplier, what we've tried to do now is try and simplify everything as simple as possible so someone could walk off the street and pick up this brief and know, oh, this is what I have to do.
Yeah.
So you work well, and we've got a great photographer and we've got a great video guy, but the idea is to make things as easy as possible for them and as simple as possible for them so then they can do their job and use their skills which they've got and maximize their potential.
Yeah.
So if they've got everything laid out in front of them and it's easy as possible for them to understand, then they're going to do what they're good at to the maximum. So like I want them to be as creative as possible because they can see, oh, cool, this is what we want. Why don't we add this, this, this? Why don't I film from this angle instead of this angle? It lets them do what they want. Whereas if they have to go in there, be like, oh, this might be good, this might be good, this might be good. And then, oh, what's that? I don't want that.
Yeah.
Like you need to give them as much direction. It's like the factories. You send the factory a tech pack with every single detail. Obviously there's a communication and language difference, but any reason for them to fuck up, they will.
Yeah.
So I think it's we try to really start applying that mentality to everything. So like if someone walks into their shop, into the warehouse, and they've never worked at the warehouse and they need to pack an order, they'll ideally be able to find where things are, where's what's located. So the whole sort of idea to bring this general manager on is to, one, make everything more streamlined, two, make everyone's job easier, less stressful, because I'm not attacking everyone and I'm not spread too thin here, trying to go here, answer emails, design what we're going to do marketing-wise, and then go and see what's happening with packing orders. Then there's email, mail outs. Like I don't want to do everything. I want to do what I'm good at and help try get the brand to the next stage. Yeah. And the best thing for me is giving up control as being the best thing.
Yeah.
As soon as I give up control, things go better.
What do you reckon, what is your vision of the next step, of the next stage? Where do you want to take StreetX?
I mean, for me, I want StreetX to be like Nike. Like I want it to be the biggest brand in the world. I'm not a cool guy who doesn't want people wearing my clothes. But with that being said, I also know there is a very specific type of customer that we cater to. So basically me or you guys, or that demographic, anyone from 15 all the way up to 35, we get that region of people and that area of people. So ideally what I want to do is keep focusing on that demographic, but through the marketing, open things up to different people. Like we use old guys, we use little kids. I don't want to pigeonhole us into one specific brand, like one specific thing. Like we only make T-shirts themed on sport.
Yeah.
Like I want to be able to do everything. I want to be able to create a full wardrobe almost, so I don't have to wear anything else.
I guess that's the thing I've been most impressed with in the last few years in particular is your variety. Like you've gone from, you know, your stock standard T-shirts, hoodies, and now you've taken it to a different level with so many different variety of pieces of clothing. And I guess that's something that I've been really impressed with. So yeah, hats off.
I mean, that's what I like is it gives you, I want it to sort of act as a vehicle to be able to tell any story we want.
Yeah.
And anything that we like or the people that are involved, interested in, and the stories we want to tell, we can tell that to the world or to Australia or to wherever we want to tell it and not be pigeonholed to, hey, we can't make that. It links back to like the school thing, not being told what you can and can't do.
Yeah.
I've always been massively sports involved with soccer or MMA, being in Australia, it's AFL. Like you're always associated with these things. So I've always wanted the idea of like, I love clothing and everything we do, but how can we integrate all these things that I like
into one?
And we've got MMA and all these things, which traditionally the original MMA stuff always sucked. And like if you thought of MMA, you'd think of a very specific type of person. Like I'd never wear that.
Wearing like tap out.
Yeah. It's like that. You don't even have to say it. It's such a specific type of like American redneck.
You get the image in your head straight away.
Yeah, and that's like I'd love to break down that idea and create something for people like-minded like me who have got the same idea. Like I want to go to an MMA show. I want to watch MMA, but I don't want to wear big fucking sparkling shirt.
Yeah.
And if you look at soccer, I don't want to just wear a soccer kit. I don't want to go to AFL wearing a singlet, like I'm wearing an AFL jersey.
Yeah.
I want to create a thing where you can go to these things and you can wear something that you want, that looks good, that you would wear. The biggest thing is like wear something that you could wear every day of the week.
Yeah.
And that's what I like trying to create.
I remember I was 10 and I loved the UFC, so I bought a tap out like my parents, and it was black with fucking like gold sparkly tap out. But like I wanted to wear it because I loved, you know what I mean? But it's what option do you have type shit.
And that's the thing is where brands get pigeonholed into certain areas. I mean, it's a hard argument because on one side, you need to know who your customer is and you need to cater towards them.
Yeah.
You shouldn't try and cater to everyone because if you cater to everyone, you're going to fail. So that's why even with what I say is I like trying to cater to the markets that we like, but we don't cater to everyone. Like I'm not trying to cater to every single person alive. As much as I'd love everyone to wear it, it's never going to happen. It's never, ever going to happen. You're always going to have people who hate the color, hate the fit, hate the fabric, hate the marketing, hate fucking everything. But that's what's part of it.
I do remember once seeing on, it was either your story or StreetX's story, one guy like hated a pair of shorts and was like, oh, no one would ever buy these. And then they like sold out and you posted them. That was a while ago.
It happens all the time.
Or you wanted to bring up the graffiti thing.
Oh,
yeah. So I saw this a while back. So run us through what happened.
You've had a few things and you put them on the story. But yeah, tell us about the graffiti
That
thing.
is one of the greatest of all time. Like, I was like... So I like the industry I'm in which is streetwear, or links to graffiti or skateboarding or any of these things. It's like these subcultures that hate like the corporate side of things. And like I've never really skated. I've always been around that. I've never been into graffiti. Always loved the art side, and I've always been around graffiti writers, and I've always been around these subcultures and grown up with that. But I've never been specifically that. So when this dude tagged the store, I was like, well, you're going to clean that. And I said anything. If someone steals my lunch, I'm going to be like, well, give it back.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to take yours now. And it goes with anything in life. Like if I was looked outside and I saw someone fucking up my car,
you want to fuck their car up.
Whoa, that's a nice scratch you've done, and I respect that. I'm not going to... Who in their right mind is going to do that?
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, oh, cool, just get this kid to clean it and then it's done. I'm like, that's all I thought it was what would happen. So I just posted me being me. Like I have a lot of photos of my shirt off. So I was like, this is going easy. I'll just post a photo of me with my shirt off. And I photoshopped it like next to him. And I was like, come clean the sign. And it was like blew up on my Instagram of everyone, all my mates laughing. And that's what it started at. It was all my mates laughing because they know what I'm like. And then there was a few like odd comments and I was like, oh, whatever. And then in that whole time it was happening, someone had instantly dobbed him in within fucking 30 minutes and found him. Apologised. I was like, yeah, mate, I'll come clean it in, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, cool.
What was his motive around doing it anyway? It was just...
Oh, he did the whole street.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Like he
just having a laugh.
He did fuck with the store because we've got cameras and he had the video. The thing that pissed me off is he like graffitied the window and there's no one around and he puts his fingers up at the window and I was like... well, now I need to fuck with this guy.
Yeah.
So, because I had that video and I was like, now I'm going to fuck with you.
Yeah.
And he would have been so cooked. Like, we've got a camera and he's gone up and fucked with the camera. But you can see him clearly. So I was like, oh, I'll just make him clean it. And that is what it is. I'm not going to fucking do anything. Found him, agreed to come clean it, blah, blah. And then while this is happening, this fucking freaks on the Instagram have blown up. Like, freaks. Yeah, like, you're assaulting underage, like, what is, you're threatening underage minors or something.
You're just like, fuck off.
I can't remember. I think I'd met up with the kid by now and he'd cleaned it or some shit. And I'd seen his ID, so I knew he was overage. And I was like, he's not underage at all, you fucking moron.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're saying. And then they just kept like saying how are threatening people online, like this is disgusting what you're doing. And I'm like, I'm getting the kid to clean it. And then they were like, then they started going, you're going to the cops, and then like you're threatening to beat him up. And I was like,
yeah, just throwing like
yeah, because I was tensing in a photo, I'm going to beat him up. And then so met the kid, and he's like, oh, you're not going to beat me up or anything, are you? I was like, no, just go clean it. Like just clean it and don't fucking do it again. Like, and then I can't remember something. He gave me his dad's phone number or something, and I spoke to his dad, and his dad was like, sorry mate, whatever, like get him to clean it, I don't care, type thing. And he cleaned it, and I spoke to him a few times before and after that, and that was that.
Yeah.
But then these freaks just kept going. They kept, I got to one point where I was like, man, what is fucking going on here? Kept going psycho. Like, then like one of them was like called in the army of the rest of them.
Oh, that we've had that before.
Oh, fuck.
But then they just kept going, and I was sort of like, what the hell is
they keep going. They don't.
I was like, where do these people come from?
Yeah.
And then it happened. I was literally, this is when I think I used to work in the store on some Saturdays and Sundays. So I was in the store one day, and this like chick who would have been my age walked in, and I was like, hey, how's it going? Like normal as I do, say hello to everyone.
She's like,
and she goes, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Oh.
And I started laughing, obviously, and I was like, what?
You taking the piss?
Yeah, and then she goes, like, and she had one of her friends like stood outside. I don't know if her friend was embarrassed but she like stood outside and waited for her, and I was like, it's a lady who's my age, and I was like, grow up.
yeah.
Like have an adult conversation, at least voice an argument that has some sort of substance. Yeah. Like you don't know what you're talking about. It'd be like me arguing with a doctor that my arm's not broken when it is. It's like, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm still going to argue with you. And that's where it kept going from this. Like these freaks kept going. And I was like, how can I fuck with them more? And they were like saying how like I was doing so many bad things. And I was like, all right, let's put on Instagram now. This is how many we made a t-shirt to make even more fun of this whole thing. We sold, I think, 250 of them, and it was like, I can't remember how much the profit was, but I was like, all right, let's fuck with people. Let's all post a charity, and we'll donate like $1,000 to each charity or some shit. Yeah. And it was so funny because they kept attacking. They were like, look at you now. You're doing us exactly as we said. I'm like, no, I'm doing to piss you off. Like I'll do whatever I want.
It's funny because you're doing a hell good thing to piss people off.
Yeah, and I was like,
it's a win-win for you.
I was like, it's no war off my back. It's a t-shirt we weren't going to make anyway, so the money's irrelevant. Like it's cool that we sold some, but I don't care. Like it's more of a fun thing. So how can we now turn this joke into something positive? Which we ended up doing, and we donated to, I think it was 3,000 or 1,003 different charities. And it was great. One of the charities we ended up working with later again. So it was great. It was an awesome thing that worked. But it was just so funny watching their comments continue.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, look at you now being all performative and trying to get on the right side of people. I'm like, man, I'm already on my right fucking side. I don't care what you have to say. I like being able to do things. Like we've got the opportunity. One, it's my own business. So I don't have to ask anyone what to do.
Yeah.
So I don't have to ask any of you people on Instagram what to do. This was our way of having fun with this whole idea. And then fast forward maybe a year, these freaks came back. Like they disappeared. They disappeared, dropped off the face of the earth as they always do.
I love freaks. That's a fun term to I do like it.
Yeah, but it's like I don't care about these people. Like I don't source out their Instagrams and be like, man, I don't like what you're doing for your job. Like, do better. Like I don't care. Like I've got my own focus in life. I'm focused on what I'm doing and what people I care about. I don't understand where in these people's lives have they come to the point where they think their opinion is so heavily weighted that they need to go out and find people who aren't doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Like what?
And they're so invested in it too. Like it's their actual job to get to the bottom of some shit.
Yeah, well, like what God-given right do they have to think that they are mentally so far above other people that they need to decide what's wrong and right?
Yeah.
And they've got the ability to do that. Like you look at, generally speaking, I've looked at all these people who've ever given me shit or talked shit about me are freaks. Like they're literally no one.
No, it's fact.
They're
it's
just
fact.
average. The average.
And
people.
we already know exactly. You can get a picture.
The image.
And they've got a social media account, and they think I can say something that I would never say to this person's face with no repercussions.
I even love we'll get it, and then I click on their account, and it's literally just been made, and I'm like, mate, like, are you serious? And it's like John Smith 1, 2, 3.
But that's
I'm like, fuck off.
Social media it's an amazing era to evoke creativity and bring new things into the world, but then it's also given so many people who should never have had a platform or a loudspeaker
And they all find each other.
And the problem is these people comment, they're always the loudest. They keep going. But then again, you don't have to listen to them. And that's what I've sort of got very thick skin now, because I don't listen to them. I don't care what they say. It's just annoying having to I don't even bother blocking them now. It's like, it's too much time. It's a waste of time having to even deal with them. I just want to understand the mental psyche of these people and where does it come from. They think they're so like their whole argument is you're so privileged. You do all this, you do all that.
They just think it comes out of nowhere. They don't realize there's work involved in anything at all.
The whole argument is always just complete hypocrisy because they've got themselves on this pedestal where they think they can bring other people down, and they think they're the ones who are the overrulers of this idea and what happens. I'm like, go and look at what you're doing. Go and work on yourself and your mental well-being and get yourself to a level of something before you go and comment on what other people are doing.
Yeah.
They normally don't have much to show for. Like you said, you can imagine the type of person. They probably have a lot of internal anger from stuff that's happened, and then they just take it out on others.
I haven't heard a thing. It's like you'll never hear criticism from people doing more than you.
Correct. Exactly right.
It's so fucking true. Like, it's people above you are focusing on themselves, and it's always people below trying to bring you down, or like because they're insecure or have nothing.
But it's like all these people have got so many problems in themselves. Like, why are you trying to look at other people? Like, focus on yourself. Sort your own life out before you go talk about other people. Like, you've got no right to go badmouth and try and ruin other people's day. Go and ruin your own day. Your own day is already ruined. Try and stop it from being ruined. And that's why, like, I get so amazed and intrigued about these people. Like, I just want to look in their mind and be like, what the hell are you thinking?
What happened?
Yeah, like, we still get it. Like, there's the Ben Cousins thing.
It's funny how people can despise a clothing brand to their core. Like, what the fuck?
And the best is when they're like, you're going to ruin your brand by doing this. I'm unfollowing you. It's like, show me one order you've ever placed. Show me one thing you've done that's ever helped me to get to where I am. Nothing, because you're irrelevant. I've got a core group of customers, and we've got a core supporters of this business, and it's growing, and I know they're always going to be there. And because we keep doing everything to service them and make their lives better, we do things they want. We're not trying to service. Like, again, I want everyone to wear StreetX, but it's not going to happen because we don't cater to these people. Like, I don't ever think we'll ever make stuff for these people because they're always going to have hatred in their heart.
They act like they've never done anything wrong. And I'm like, you probably do 100 shitty things a day because you're doing one right now. And you think it's like, I've always never understood how people go to videos and shit. Like, if I don't like something, I'd usually just, swipe past. I don't get how they, like, dislike it, comment, oh, fuck you, like, this is, do you know what I mean? I'm like, bro, just swipe past it.
But it's like the hard thing, like, even with restaurants, like, I've had so many times where I've bought a coffee and it's freezing cold, or I've bought food and I'm like, man, I just waste my fucking money. I'm still not going to go out of my way to negatively review this place and abuse them.
Go abuse the barista.
So you don't know how long these people have been hard they've worked to get where they are. It could just be a one-off occurrence. Okay, I understand if you go there 30 times in a row and the coffee's shit, just don't fucking go back. You can tell your mates it sucks, it is what it is. But don't go out of your way to try and ruin this person's livelihood. Like, you've got X amount of time, like we've discussed. How is using your time efficiently if you are sitting on Instagram
trying to bring someone else down,
talking shit to someone? It's like even the Ben Cousins thing, I knew we were going to get shit. We actually ended up getting next to nothing of negative stuff. But there was just the odd comment, oh, you're working with a drug abuser, like, why don't you give the money to his wife, or like just weird shit like this. I'm like, look at the media and all the crap that's been in the media and who's done what and all this stuff. It's like, why are you trying to talk about negative stuff? Focus on positive things. Focus on people moving forward.
Plus, if you believe everything in the media, like, there's always a spin on that.
It's the hard thing now with media. It almost becomes the law. Because people don't get charged of things, but it gets posted in the media. It's like, if you're not charged of a crime and you're not proven to be guilty.
But right now, it's guilty. Like, if the accusation is pretty much worse than getting charged now.
And that's the problem, is because that's what's so dangerous, is you watch social media and the fallout that happens. Like, on a very small scale, like, you look at the that graffiti thing. where one person's comment, oh, this guy's abusing minors. Then
that shit's crazy.
Then it spirals.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Imagine if a massive brand we are working with sees that. Mm-hmm. Nothing ever happened. But there's the idea that could affect your relationship. Yeah. Obviously, that brand, if it does affect, cool, maybe they're not the right brand for you. But it's just insane that this society we live in now, where so many people get called out for things. And what if it's not true? Like, there's no repercussions.
Yep.
You get away with calling someone out for shit, but there's no repercussions if it's not true.
And then that accusation's just stuck with them now. A lot of people just think, oh, what a piece of shit.
And that's the hard, if that person has done something bad, then of course they deserve everything they get. But that's what we've got a legal system for.
Yeah.
And that's why things are what they are. And that's why for me, like, I don't bother or waste my time talking shit about people on the internet. Like, cool, if they've done something bad, they're going to get charged.
Yeah.
They're going to get done. So let them be. Let them do their thing. I'll focus on what I'm doing and furthering my life and helping the people around me rather than trying to be the law.
Yeah.
100%. A question that I had earlier, more of a positive one, is like, obviously you're a very busy man. You've had 10 years doing this stuff. Mm-hmm. Do you ever have time to stop and smell the roses and appreciate what you've built?
Not really, because what we've built is not much. For me, it's like I always want to do more.
Yeah.
Like I understand we've done pretty well. We've made it. We make a lot of stuff. We turn over X amount of dollars. Like we do well. We employ X amount of people. We have heaps of cool, great kids following us, and men, women, all different types of people following us and buying stuff. It's great, but I still always want to do more. Yeah, like I always look at. The grass is always greener.
Yeah.
Like, it can always get better. I can always do more. Like, we can always improve on each thing we do. Like, we can always make something better. So for me, it is great. Like, I live a great life, but I always want to do more.
Yeah.
It's always been just sort of geared like that.
I guess that's a key pillar for a lot of successful people or people who are aiming to be successful. Is you always got to, seek more.
It depends how you determine your success. Like, today is the age of the fucking influencer Instagram freak, and a different type of freak who, what's the name, hustle hard, buy a Lamborghini, manicure yourself, like look the part, look good, feel good, like impress people, like one up everyone. Like, that's great. Some people become very successful doing that. Yeah, but I don't think it's not real. Like, it's not authentic. And I'm not that. Like, I'd maybe cool having a Ferrari or some shit, but like, I'm not going to waste my money on that. I've got more important things I'd rather do and achieve than buy a Ferrari to do a fucking skid for a week and be cool. Yeah. And people will be like, wow, look at his car. I don't want people to like me for my car. Yeah. I want people to like me for what I've done and what I've put out into the world. Yeah. Rather than not like, wow, look at this guy eating. He goes to Nobu every night. Like, he eats out all the time. Like, he's so cool. Look at the parties he's at. Like, that's cool. Like, that's a cool part of it. But I'd rather focus on people respecting what I've actually produced or what we've done and put out as a brand and what we've created rather than personal ego things.
Yeah, 100%, for sure.
Well, I guess we've got a few questions.
Yeah, heaps of questions got sent in. So we'll quick fire them, just go through them.
Oh, yeah, this is a big one. I guess define they know, and how did you come up with it? Like, what's the story behind that?
So they know is literally starts as like it's more of an embodiment of the whole attitude. It's like they know what's going to happen if you fuck around. This is what's going to happen. Like, it's a tongue in cheek type thing, and it was literally just me and my friends in a group chat.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. It's like it's an idea of just that attitude of like, cool, this is what we are. And it's like, if someone talks shit, it's like, oh, I'm going to give it back to you. Yeah. You're not just like, it's always just having that no one can say no to me type attitude. And that's where it sort of more come from. And and that's where the fist then works into that. And it's just built up into that. And it's creating that whole attitude and platform to become from a joke to like what like-minded people can think. It's like, if someone wants to talk shit to you or hate you or say no to you, it's like, you don't have to listen. They don't give a fuck what they say. Yeah. They know what the real me is type thing. And that's where it can sort of flow on from there.
Sick. Cool. Next one. Now, we know a little bit about this. I know you've put it on your story before, but for those who don't know, what's the story behind the Pina Colada Boys?
That was when I was 21 or 22.
Yep.
I was still like a little kid. I just moved out of home.
That's how old we are now, by the way.
Oh,
yeah, I'm 22.
Yeah, so it's for me. I was like retarded when I was that age. Like I look at me when I was from there, and I was like
a little freak, but a good one.
Yeah, like I wish I'd moved out when I was 18 and grown up. But like we were making zero money. I was doing StreetX at the time, and one of my best friends, who's 36 this year, was getting married in Thailand. So I had fuck all money at the time, but I was like, yeah, got to go.
It's a good place, eh? We love it.
And they stayed at they got married in an amazing hotel, and they got the whole hotel. Me and my mate got the cheap one next door. So literally next door. So it was like we walked.
Go to their pool and shit?
Yeah. So that's exactly how Pina Colada Boys came about, is their pool. So we would walk next door, and me and one of my other best mates, who's a little bit older than me too, he was covered in tattoos. So I always liked tattoos, but I had no tattoos at the time. Long story short, we would always go to the pool next door, and one of the chicks we were mates with at the wedding, we just put all the drinks on her room. I can't remember if it got paid. I think we paid a little bit of it, but it was just like the drink they had at this bar was a pina colada in this fuck off coconut.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we would just go there every day and get them. And for me, it was like a coming out type party. Like I'd just been with a long-term girlfriend. We'd just broken up. And I was like, it's like not being a little kid anymore. It's like go out and experience the world and have fun. So it was actually a real big turning point for me.
Yeah.
And then when I got back, me and my mate got matching tattoos, and that was that's the long story short.
That's sick. How does it feel to be one of Perth's maddest cunts?
See, man, that's the cool thing. Like better than like, oh wow, look at what car he drives, or look what cool things he's got. Like that to me is way more of a cool thing.
Yeah.
Like, man, you see someone, the kids who see each other in StreetX, you always like the little head nod.
Yeah.
For me, like I know them, or they know me.
They know, right?
Yeah. And then like one of my mates told me the other day, he's old. He's like in his 40s. He's a barber who cuts my hair, and he always wears StreetX. And he was like, I go to the city, and like kids like head nod me, and they're both wearing StreetX. So like people, you acknowledge each other. So for me, that's more of like a fucking cool thing to see.
Yeah.
100%. Dan, how much for you to have a boxing match with Parko Geet up?
I'll do it for free.
East versus West.
I'll win easily. Yeah, that's easy work.
I'll win easily.
He's bigger than me, but I could within 3 rounds done. Yeah, without a doubt. I don't think I'd get hit.
Okay.
I don't think I'd get hit.
Jesus, that's on the record now. That's on the record. And the rest is shit. So
yeah. Also, actually, I wanted to ask you about. You mentioned LA earlier. So have you been to America a few times?
Multiple times.
Tell us about your experiences there. Some fun stories or whatever.
Yes, pretty much after that, the Pina Colada Boys trip is obviously, I was like, cool, we need to start doing more and more and get out and do things and see the world. And so I think the first time we went, I don't even know what year it was now, years ago, me and 2 of the guys who were working with me at the time went to LA. They were older, so they'd been there a bunch of times. And it was just sick to experience, meet all the brands we dealt with, meet all the people we dealt with, because we were more selling other brands at the time, making less of our own stuff. But we just started to make some of our own stuff. So meeting all the people you deal with is like the best thing. Like meeting your suppliers in business. Once you meet someone, it's like if you guys get on, you've got their respect.
Yeah.
You've got their, like, you know, you're on their side and vice versa.
It's that biggest thing that it's one of the oldest sayings is like, it's about who you know. And it's just it's honestly so true.
Especially, I mean, this industry for me, it's all who you know.
Yeah.
Everything's who you know. And that's how a lot of the cool partnerships that we've had, it's all come from people like me. And a lot of times you get people who don't like you. Yeah. And you're going to get people who say no, and that's just is what it is. But like, if it went traveled there, I've been there 4 or 5 times, heaps. Done a pop-up there. And then we're going back there next March.
Do you enjoy LA? Is it?
Love it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love LA. I don't know. Because I know so many people there, and I've worked. We've done 2 pop-ups there. Yeah, so I've been there a lot of times. And I know so many people there. Food, something to do all the time. Yeah. Like, remember when I first went there was like a party every night. Like each brand had something on. Obviously, to be there at the right times. But yeah, it's very different here. Very different lifestyle, and there's just a lot more happening. Like every fucking person you does something. Every person you meet is doing something, which is a really cool thing because it's very inspiring to see these people doing things on a far bigger scale than what you're doing things on.
Yeah, no, we'd love to go. I mean, that's the main thing that COVID's done to us is, you know, we've wanted to travel from 19 to 21, 22, and we just haven't been able to. So
that's all right. We've got a lot of years
around the corner though. But yeah, we have a good friend of the show, Billy Meeks, who plays rugby in LA.
Yep.
for the LA Guiltinis. It's like a new team, MLR or something, Major League
He seems to
Rugby.
be loving life over there.
That's the thing. We're sort of living our LA life through him because he's always putting stories up, you know, the videos and that.
Yeah, it just seems fun. It really just seems like there's just so much shit to do. Like,
but that's the thing with traveling. You can use travel where you can go and just party and drink. Or for me, I use travel for business because you can do I did all that partying and drinking the whole time while I was doing business. Yeah. And meeting all these people. Like I've been to so many cool things. I've been to parties that I shouldn't have got into.
Are there some fun parties over there?
Yeah, I've been to some cool parties all around the world. Like I went to one in Paris where it was one of Virgil's after parties.
That's sick.
Oh, yeah, you did go to Paris. I remember seeing those on your story.
I got in as a token +1 with one of my mates. One of my mates was from LA who knows everyone.
Yeah.
Was like, come with us. And I was just pissed in the car. Like, yep. Let's do it.
That's what it's all about, who you know, and then you're one person closest to knowing who they know, and it's like...
And I had no idea where we were going. I was like, Virgil, after party, cool, it's a beer party. And it was this massive, sick building. ASAP Rocky's there, Jerry Lorenz, like all these cool fashion people in there. ASAP Rocky's like standing with you guys on. I was like, that's pretty cool. I was just like...
you're blue.
I was so
fucked
drunk.
Up, yeah.
One of my mates who's this famous model now, Evan Mock, just grabbed a bottle of Jameson from out of the bar, and me and him were both just walking around, and he just loves me because I'm Australian and I want to have a good time, and we were just drinking this bottle, and I was like, wow. And I was with this other skater, Ish, who's another young cool guy, and I was just like watching them like, fuck, you guys fucking know everyone.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how's it going? I'm from Australia.
Do you find that people in America and Europe do like you just for being Australian? Like, is it a token,
I mean, if you're an awkward little... like that's
freak.
Yeah, but if you're that type of person, you're not good with people, then it's maybe that's not the type of area you want to be in. For me, I just I'm good at talking to people.
Yeah,
not because you can further my career, but cool. You're at the same party I'm at. I'm in the other side of the world, being able to work and drink and have fun. Like, this is fucking cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I don't care what you do, but it's pretty cool that you're at the same party as me. And that's literally how the night went. And I met heaps of cool people, and like. This Evan who I was friends with introduced me to all these famous people. And he's like, man, this guy's from Australia. He's got this cool brand. And they were all just like nodding there, like, cool, man. Yeah. And I was like, what's up? Like, just being friendly. But it's funny to interact and watch people in these certain places.
Where's your favourite place, like, besides Perth, like, to travel?
Probably LA.
Yep.
Yeah. But I've got a biased opinion because I've done so many things there and I know so many cool people there. Like I get to see, like I go with them. I'm like, I just want to go where you guys go. Like I don't want to go to tourist stuff. I want to take me to any restaurants you guys like. Yeah. Because then you can see a way of life rather than just like, oh, I'm going to Hollywood or these places. Anywhere you go, you've got to know people. Like, imagine if you came to Perth and you didn't know anyone.
Yeah.
Like, what would you do?
It'd be, honestly, like
go to the Bell Tower. You'd go
to Freo for a day.
House, or like you go to these any place that's on Google as like the best nightclub in the city. Like that you wouldn't.
Yeah, like
know.
if you Google what to do in Perth, whatever comes up, that's literally it. Unless you know.
So you'd go to like Cottesloe Beach one day.
You go to Kings Park for a day.
Freo
check
for
out
a day.
Key, which is cool. But
walk around Optus.
You can see cool stuff, but like you're not going to get amazing food or like experiences at these places. You're not going to see local retailers or anything.
Like you said, having contacts in different parts of the world helps.
Oh,
just to understand the area properly, you know?
I mean, it's like, I mean, in my uni degree, we did international business unit, and they were like the biggest, like one of the main barriers to entry is how do you enter a market if you've got no connection to it? And one of the main things was like having a local partner in that area. Yeah. So they can guide you and show you how to enter that market.
Another one actually, I forgot what the event was called, but Adam 22, had him in store and stuff, right? Yeah. How did that come about? Because he's a pretty cool bloke. I follow him.
Well, there was.
Did you get along with him? Like, how was he?
All right.
And how did that come about?
There was a festival called Hidden.
That's
Festival.
what it was. Because Little Yachty was at it. Yeah.
So Hidden. So one of my friends ran that, and we used to share a warehouse together. And he was like, "How can we get you involved?" And I was like, we wouldn't do merch and whatnot." And he was like, what do you reckon of this idea? And I was like, man, that's a fucking very good idea. Like, we could do something cool with that. No Jumper's massive. And then that's how that sort of went. And it went really well. It was cool. Again, it's a very different thing. It's not a traditional brand partnership that most people would do.
Sure.
That's why I liked it. And that's why I ended up doing really well.
For sure.
Sick. I guess that's it.
Yeah,
we've been running for an hour 10. It's been a great chat.
That's a good
one. One question that we like to leave people with, and it always stumps them, is how would you like to be remembered? So when it's all said and done, how would you like to be remembered?
Pretty much touched on it. It's more so like that kid's question. What was it? How does it feel to be the maddest cunt thing? I'd like people, just more so, not even me, but the brand to remember the movement, things we changed and watched other brands follow what we've done, and just try be trailblazer and try do things other people aren't doing and made these changes. And even if it's given other people the opportunity to do more. Because, man, it's fucking little old Perth. No one expects a brand to sell stuff.
Yeah, 100%. No one expects anything from Perth.
Everyone thinks they have to leave to do better. So the whole idea is to, when it does one day end, everyone to look back and be like, wow, this brand sort of helped change the landscape.
100%. That's
there
it.
You go.
That's awesome.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks
Cheers
for making the trip.
We appreciate it. Awesome. You're out in the bush right now. A little bit away from home.
I saw a kangaroo. I thought,
typical Australian. Like, if people... Like, we have some people listen to the UK, and if they saw where Jamo lives, it's the stereotype, 100%, like kangaroos and shit. For sure.
Not quite outback, but close enough.
Close enough.
Speaking of kangaroos, just we'll quickly touch on your favourite story.
Oh, when the...
We finished filming a podcast and we pulled up to the house and there was 2 kangaroos jumping across the road. One cleared the fence, so there's a white picket fence over there. One cleared the fence. The other one was running at such velocity.
Went through it.
Clipped its toe on the fence.
Craziest shit I've ever seen.
Front flip, corkscrew, land on its neck, right? So it's a really sad story, but Dylan couldn't stop laughing.
It's just, sometimes people, I feel like I'm one of those people that when face that crazy stuff, I don't know why I react that way. I don't know. I'm not I don't think I'm that shit of a bloke or anything. I don't know. I couldn't.
I think it'd be pretty funny.
You would have laughed, for sure.
I'm talking crying.
It's ultimate fails.
I couldn't breathe, bro.
I love watching old people falling over on YouTube.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
You really do, don't you?
Yeah.
Fat people falling over too. That's a good one. Yeah.
Weird shit's funny.
Yeah. But it's because it was such a shock. We literally had just pulled up. And I don't know. I've never seen a kangaroo eat shit like that. And it fucking...
Yeah, well, it's pretty rare.
I mean, they're pretty crazy, aren't they? But,
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, that kangaroo.
Died.
Oh, bro, and then what happened was, right? So, it does get sad. It was, slowly breathing. And there's a...
wildlife shelter up the road?
Yeah, it's a volunteer one, isn't it? Yeah. So, Jamo goes up there and tells them, and they kind of just we'll finish eating lunch and come. Too late.
Came back, it's gone. So that's the sad end, but didn't stop him from laughing.
There was a snake here last week. That was scary as, bro.
Yeah.
But that's what happens, I guess, when you're out here.
It. Wild West, eh? But again, we appreciate you coming on, mate. Much love. Big love to StreetX. Check them out, everyone that's watching and listening. And it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week. Cheers.